Elias Varon was a quiet human technician who lived on a small colony called Haven 12, a peaceful place far from the center of the galaxy. The colony had no wars, no conflicts, and no special importance. People repaired ships, traded supplies, and spent their evenings under the soft blue sky. Elias liked this simple life. He liked silence, machines, and the comfort of routine. Nothing dramatic ever happened there. Until the night the signal arrived. It started with a faint whisper inside the communications tower. Elias was working the night shift, checking long-range scanners and repairing a weak antenna. Suddenly, the scanner screen flickered. A tiny red dot appeared, pulsing like a heartbeat. The system released a soft alarm and displayed a message. Unknown distress signal detected. Origen. Uncharted sector 2 a 9. Status. Unreadable/damaged. Elias frowned. Signals from that region were almost impossible. It was known as a silent zone. Ships refused to go there. Navigation systems failed there. Some people called it the Starless Pocket, a dark region where sensors died and pilots heard strange things. Elias leaned closer. The signal crackled again. For a moment, he thought he heard a voice. Soft, weak, almost like a child whispering. Please, help anyone. His heart shook. He increased the volume, adjusted the antenna, ran the signal through filters. The voice came again, clearer this time. Help me. Elias froze. The galaxy was full of false signals, traps, or broken transmissions from old probes. But this voice sounded alive. It sounded scared. He called the supervisor on duty. A tired old man named Rock entered the room with a cup of steaming tea. What is it now? He asked. Elias replayed the sound. Rock listened for a few seconds, then sighed. Ignore it. Could be an echo from a wreck, or a pirate trick, or just space noise. It sounds like someone asking for help, Elias said. Rock shook his head. That sector is forbidden. No ship returns from there. Let go. We can't risk our people. Elias looked at the screen again. The red dot pulsed like a heartbeat in trouble. He felt a strange tug inside, a sense that the voice was familiar. Not as a memory, but as a feeling. Fear, loneliness, desperation. Someone is out there, Elias whispered. Rock placed a hand on his shoulder. You are a good man, Elias. But kindness can get you killed in deep space. Forget the signal. But Elias could not forget. When Rock left, the voice returned. Please, please help me. Elias stared at the dark window outside the tower. Stars glowed softly. Space looked peaceful and empty. But it wasn't. Something or someone was calling him. He made a decision. He left the tower, hurried through the quiet colony, and reached the small hangar. A few scout ships were parked inside. Light, fast, and perfect for short rescue missions. His friend Mira was sitting near the entrance, polishing a drone. She looked up as he approached. You're here late, she said. What happened? Elias told her about the signal. Myra's eyes widened with fear. You're not going there, she said instantly. That region eats ships. The magnetic fields tear navigation systems apart. It's like flying into a blind storm. I know, Elias said softly. But if someone is alive, there could be 100 dangers. Ancient traps, Rug Ai, dead zones, unknown aliens. Why risk your life for someone you don't even know? Elias smiled sadly. Because no one else will. Mira grabbed his arm. Elias, please. Don't do this. He looked at her gently. If you heard that voice, you would go too. She looked away. She knew he was right. Within an hour, Elias prepared his scout ship, Starling 3. He loaded extra fuel, emergency supplies, a medical kit, and a portable translator. Before leaving, he left a message for the colony. If I don't return, I tried to help someone who needed me. When the ship lifted into space, the voice grew stronger in his earpiece. Broken, crying, begging. Help me, please. Elias set course toward the silent zone. As he approached, the stars dimmed. Light faded. His ship's sensors flickered. The navigation screen glitched. Temperature readings became unstable. The darkness ahead looked unnatural, like a giant shadow covering a piece of the universe. Entering uncharted sector, the ship's AI reported. Warning, all systems unstable. Elias tightened his seatbelt. The moment he crossed the boundary, everything changed. The ship shuddered. Lights dimmed. The engine coughed and lost power. The stars outside disappeared completely. It felt like he was drifting through liquid blackness. Then the voice came again, louder, clearer, almost inside his mind. Help, hurry. The ship's power shut down. Everything went silent. Elias floated in total darkness, with only the weak echo of the voice guiding him. Suddenly, a massive shadow moved in front of him. A shape, a structure, maybe a ship. A shape, a structure, maybe a ship. Huge, silent, broken, and he was drifting straight toward it. As the hull of the unknown giant grew near, Elias whispered into the dark, I hope I'm not too late. The story ends here on a cliffhanger. Elias drifting toward an alien megastructure that should not exist. That Elias's small ship drifted closer and closer to the dark giant floating in the empty space. The structure was huge, so huge that his entire scout ship looked like a tiny insect beside it. No lights shone on its surface. No Indian's glow. It was just a silent, dead shadow in the void. But something inside it was alive. Elias could feel it. His ship bumped gently against the giant structure. Magnetic clamps automatically locked onto the hull, pulling him toward a small docking port that opened as if the ship was expecting him. Elias shivered. How does it know I'm here? He whispered. The docking tube extended, connecting his small ship to the mysterious vessel. The inside of the tube lit up with dim blue lights, flickering, weak, like the last heartbeat of something ancient. Elias grabbed his flashlight, helmet, and small toolkit. He stepped into the docking tube. Behind him, the door to his ship closed with a heavy thud. Ahead of him, the door to the alien ship slid open on its own. Elias took a deep breath and stepped inside. The air felt cold. Too cold. The corridor was long, metallic, and covered in strange symbols that looked carved rather than printed. Some symbols glowed faintly. Others seemed burned into the metal by force. The ship felt wounded. Every step echoed down the empty hall. The silence pressed on his ears like a weight. His flashlight beam cut through thick shadows, revealing broken panels, shattered glass, and wires hanging like vines. This ship is very old, he muttered. Then he heard it. A whisper. Soft. Weak. The same voice from the signal. Help. Elias followed the sound deeper into the ship. The corridors narrowed. The lights flickered more violently, as if the ship was trying to stay alive just long enough to show him something. He turned a corner and froze. Rows of glass pods lined the walls. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Inside each pod was a figure. Different shapes, different species. Some tall and thin, some small with glowing markings. Some had wings, some had scaled skin. All of them looked unconscious, or asleep, or maybe trapped. Elias approached the nearest pod. A small alien lay inside. Its skin was purple. Its body looked fragile, like it was starving. The pod's glass was cracked. Is this a prison? Elias whispered. He checked the next pod. Another alien. Then another. All weak. All barely alive. Then he heard a soft tapping. Talp, talp, talp. Elias spun around. He shined his flashlight toward a pod in the corner. Inside it, a small alien child pressed its tiny hand against the glass. Its eyes were wide with fear. It looked no older than 10 in human years. When the child saw Elias, it panicked. It pulled away, curling into a corner of the pod, as if expecting pain. It's okay, Elias said gently. I'm here to help. He placed his hands softly against the glass so the child could see he held no weapon. The child hesitated, then slowly reached out and touched the glass again. Elias checked the pod's controls. The symbols were alien, but the design was similar to medical stasis tech. The child's pod was malfunctioning. If he didn't release it soon, the air would run out. Elias began working. Sparks flew. Panels clicked. After a tense minute, the lock released. The pod opened with a hiss. The child crawled out weakly and collapsed. Elias quickly pulled out a water pouch and placed it near the child. It sniffed the water, then drank desperately. There you go, Elias said softly. The child stared at him in shock, as if unable to believe a human would show kindness. Slowly, very slowly, it reached its hand out toward his. Elias smiled and held the small, trembling hand. Then the entire ship groaned. A deep, heavy metallic roar that shook the floor under their feet. Elias grabbed the child and held it close. "What was that?" he whispered. Lights overhead sparked. Red symbols lit up along the walls. Something had awakened. The ship was changing, breathing. Elias took a step forward, and a large shadow moved at the end of the corridor. He raised his flashlight slowly. What he saw made his blood turn cold. A tall figure, 3 meters high, stood motionless in the dark. Its eyes glowed with cold mechanical light. Its armor was cracked and ancient. Sharp metal claws extended from its arms. It was not a prisoner. It was a guardian. The guardian took a slow step forward. Its voice echoed like grinding metal. "Human detected." Elias froze. "Threat level, extreme." The guardian lifted its arm. Energy began charging at the tip. Elias held the alien child close and whispered, "It's okay. I'm not leaving you." The guardian took a slow step forward. Its voice echoed like grinding metal. "Human detected." Elias froze. "Threat level, extreme." The guardian lifted its arm. Energy began charging at the tip. Elias held the alien child close and whispered, "It's okay. I'm not leaving you." The guardian aimed straight at him. The ship shook again. The energy built. And then everything went dark. Darkness swallowed everything. For a moment, Elias felt weightless, like the ship had stopped existing. His flashlight flickered weakly, then steadied, allowing him to see just enough to know he was still alive and still trapped inside the ancient alien ship. The alien child clung to his arm, trembling. Elias whispered, "Stay close. Don't run." Then a deep metallic hum rolled through the corridor. Dim red lines lit up across the walls, thin at first, then growing brighter, like the ship was drawing breath after a long sleep. Elias knew what that meant. The guardian was waking up again. A heavy thud shook the floor. Another, then a low growl, mechanical and cold, echoed through the hallway. Elias turned slowly, his flashlight trembling in his hand. The guardian stepped forward from the shadows. Its eyes glowed like burning blue flames. Its metal armor scraped against the walls. Sparks crackled from broken wires wrapped around its arms. It looked ancient, damaged, but still deadly, like a war machine that refused to die. It scanned the corridor. "Human," it said, voice echoing like steel tearing apart. Biological threat confirmed. Elias held the child behind him. He raised his hands slowly. "I'm not a threat," he said softly. "I'm helping." The guardian tilted its head, confused but not convinced. Ancient logic systems flickered inside its chest, visible through cracked metal plates. "Humans," the guardian said slowly, "destroyed Sector 9. Humans caused the Great Cleansing." "Humans." "I don't know anything about that," Elias interrupted. "I only answered a distress call." The guardian paused. The alien child peeked out from behind Elias, its small hands gripping his jacket. The guardian's glowing eyes shifted toward the child, and for a moment, the machine hesitated. "Non-human life form," it said. "Weak, injured, status protected." Elias took a careful step forward. "Yes, I saved them." The guardian's voice crackled, as if its processors struggled to understand. "Human behavior does not match historical records." Elias swallowed hard. "Maybe your records are wrong." Another groan rippled through the ship. The walls shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere deeper inside, metal screamed like something massive was tearing open. The guardian turned its head slightly. Structural damage increasing. Reactor core unstable. Ship collapse imminent. Elias felt his stomach twist. If the ship collapsed, everyone inside, including the unconscious prisoners, would die. "Let me help them," Elias said. "Let me help all of you." The guardian's eyes dimmed for a moment. Its voice grew softer, almost uncertain. "Human, helping." A pause. Unknown behavior pattern. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the corridor. Elias grabbed the child and shielded it with his body as the floor vibrated and smoke filled the air. Lights above them burst. The guardian's body sparked violently. Its voice grew deeper, no longer confused but alert. Hostile entity approaching, it said. Elias stared at it in shock. Hostile what? Before the Guardian could answer, a loud screech echoed from deeper inside the ship. High, sharp, and unnatural. The alien child hit its face in Elias's chest, shaking in terror. The sound came again, closer, louder. The Guardian took a defensive stance. Predator species detected, it said. The Devourer is awake. Elias felt his blood run cold. Devourer? What is that? The Guardian did not take its glowing eyes off the darkness ahead. The reason this ship fell. The reason all prisoners remain frozen. The Devourer feeds on energy and living beings. Another screech tore through the hallway. The Guardian turned toward Elias. You must survive. You must prove truth. Elias's heart pounded. Survive? How? The ship is collapsing. The Guardian reached out a heavy metal hand and touched the wall. A small panel opened, revealing a narrow maintenance shaft. Go, it commanded. Protect the child. Elias looked at the shaft. It was dark, small, and twisted. But there was no time to argue. What about you? Elias asked. The Guardian stepped forward, positioning itself between Elias and the approaching darkness. I will delay the Devourer, it said. Elias nodded. He crouched and lifted the alien child into his arms. The child held onto him tightly, whispering something in its own language, fear mixed with hope. Behind him, the Guardian's body glowed brighter as it powered up its ancient weapons. Elias crawled into the shaft, pulling himself forward inch by inch. Metal scraped his knees and hands. Sparks fell through the cracks above him. Every few seconds, the ship groaned again. Then he heard it. A roar, violent, monstrous. A powerful impact. Metal hitting metal. The Guardian shouting, "Stay back, creature!" Elias crawled faster. Behind him, through the shaking walls, he heard battles, explosions, and metal tearing apart. The Devourer screamed like something from a nightmare. The child whispered, "Machine fight, machine protect." Elias held the child close. Yes, and we will survive. He reached the end of the shaft and kicked open a panel. A small chamber lay ahead, filled with flickering lights and strange alien controls. Then the entire ship shook from a massive explosion. Elias looked back in fear. "Guardian," he whispered. No answer. The child cried softly. Elias stood, wiped the sweat from his face, and whispered, "Don't worry. I'll find a way out." But as he stepped forward, new red symbols lit up on the wall. Symbols that meant one thing. The chamber Elias entered was small, dim, and filled with glowing red warning signs. The air was heavy with heat. Sparks dripped from the ceiling like falling stars. The alien child clung to his arm, shaking with fear. Elias scanned the room quickly. Most of the controls were dead. Only one screen flickered weakly. He wiped off the dust and saw words appearing in alien symbols, then shifting into human language. Reactor core failing. Explosion imminente. Evacuate immediately. Elias felt his stomach twist. If this ship explodes, he whispered, this whole region of space will shatter. Behind him, the child tugged on his sleeve and pointed toward a narrow corridor on the right. The lights flickered there, but the path was open. "We need to go," Elias said, "before everything breaks apart." But just as he took his first step, a deep metallic bang echoed through the ship. The walls shook. Lights shattered. Smoke filled the chamber. Then a familiar voice boomed through the corridor. "Human, stop." Elias turned around. The Guardian stood at the entrance, but was badly damaged. Its armor was cracked. Blue energy leaked from its joints. One arm hung uselessly. Burn marks covered half its body, but was still standing. Behind it, Elias could hear the Devourer shrieking in rage, angry that the Guardian had blocked its path. "You're alive," Elias said in shock. The Guardian's glowing eyes flickered. For now, the alien child hid behind Elias. The Guardian observed the small creature for a moment. Then its voice changed, lower, more thoughtful. "The child trusts you," it said. That was the first proof. Elias frowned. Proof of what? The ship trembled again. The Guardian looked up at the ceiling as it cracked. "This vessel is dying. All life forms inside will be destroyed within minutes, it said. But there is a choice. Elias swallowed. What choice? The Guardian's remaining arm extended. A hologram appeared, showing 3 paths. Path A, escape pod for 1 person. Path B, manual release for the alien prisoners. Path C, containment shield to trap the Devourer. The Guardian explained. Only 1 path can be activated. Power is too low. If you choose escape, you will survive. If you choose to free the prisoners, you will die. If you choose to stop the Devourer, you will die. Elias stared at the hologram. One choice will save you, the Guardian said. The others will save the many. The alien child looked up at him with wide, scared eyes. Elias felt heat rising through the floors. Smoke choked the air. The ship rattled violently. Time was almost gone. His mind raced. He could escape. He could survive. But the prisoners would die. The child would die. And the Devourer, whatever it truly was, would escape into the galaxy. Elias closed his eyes. He already knew his answer. He stepped forward and placed his hand firmly on Path B and Path C together. The Guardian's damaged eyes widened. Impossible. You cannot activate 2 paths. You will die. Elias smiled sadly. If I free the prisoners and trap the Devourer, maybe the galaxy will survive. Even if I don't. The alien child grabbed his hand desperately and shook its head, tears in its eyes. Elias knelt down. You'll live, he whispered. And that's what matters. The child hugged him tightly. The Guardian stared at him in complete silence. Then, slowly, its eyes dimmed, like it was reconsidering everything it had been programmed to believe. Why? The Guardian asked quietly. Why would a human choose death for strangers? Because kindness matters, Elias said. Even in the darkest places. The Guardian shook violently as its processors overloaded. Smoke spilled from its joints. Then its eyes flashed bright blue again. Very well, it said. I will adjust. The hologram changed. The Guardian pointed to a new option, hidden deep inside the system. Emergency path, shared sacrifice. Survival chance for human, 2%. Survival chance for child and prisoners, 87%. Elias's heart pounded. What does this mean? It means, the Guardian said slowly, that I will share the cost. I will hold the Devourer back while you activate the release systems. Elias stared at it. You would do that? For me? The Guardian looked down at the small alien child holding Elias's hand. For proof, it said softly. Proof that not all humans destroy. Before Elias could respond, another monstrous scream tore through the corridors. The Devourer was forcing its way closer. No more time. Elias rushed to the main control pillar. Sparks burned his hands. The chamber shook violently. He slammed a lever forward. Alarms blared. Doors across the ship unlocked. Alien pods began opening. Elias could hear voices, confusion, coughing, life returning. He pulled the final release switch. The ship roared as all remaining energy surged into the prisoner systems. Behind him, the Guardian stepped into the burning corridor. The last thing Elias heard it say was, "Run, human. I will hold the monster." Elias grabbed the child and sprinted toward the exit. Flames erupted behind him. Metal collapsed. The ship screamed like a dying beast. But he didn't stop, because this moment, the moment he chose others above himself, would echo across the galaxy forever. Elias ran through the burning corridor with the alien child in his arms. The ship shook like a wounded beast. Pipes burst above him. Flames fell from the ceiling. Every step was a fight for survival. Behind him, the Devourer roared, a terrible, hungry sound that echoed through the metal bones of the ship. The Guardian's mechanical voice boomed back, shouting, fighting, resisting the creature with every spark of its dying power. The ship trembled harder. Panels exploded around Elias. The heat grew so intense that it felt like the air was melting. Just a little more, Elias whispered, coughing on the smoke. He reached the platform where the escape pathways began. It was a huge circular chamber filled with broken machinery, glowing wires, and dozens of narrow escape tunnels leading toward the docking bay. At the far end, he could hear the sound of pods sliding open. The prisoners were waking up. Creatures from every corner of the galaxy staggered out of their pods, weak, confused, terrified. Some had glowing skin. Some had wings. Some had scales or fur or crystal-like bodies. All of them looked at the burning ship with desperate eyes. "We need to move," Elias shouted. Many of the aliens stared at him with surprise. A human? Helping them? The galaxy had told them a different story. But here he was, injured, exhausted, and still pushing them towards safety. A tall alien with 4 glowing eyes stepped forward. Why do you help us?" it asked weakly. Elias pointed to the flames spreading across the ceiling. "Because you'll die if we stay here." The alien blinked in confusion. No lies. No tricks. The human was actually helping. Elias guided the prisoners toward the escape shafts. The alien child tugged on his sleeve and pointed upward. A massive crack formed in the ceiling, glowing with white-hot light. The reactor was getting closer to meltdown. Elias knew he had minutes at most. "Everyone move," he yelled. "Go through the tunnels. They lead to safe pods." The aliens obeyed, their steps shaky but determined. Then a deep metallic crash shook the floor. Elias turned, and his heart dropped. The Guardian stumbled into the chamber. Half its body was missing. Sparks burst from its chest. Its glowing eyes dimmed and flickered. Behind it, the Devourer's monstrous shadow twisted, screeching with hunger and fury. The Guardian collapsed to one knee. "Human," it said, voice broken. "The Devourer is free." Elias's blood turned cold. The Devourer moved forward, scraping its massive claws along the walls. Its body shimmered with black energy, absorbing light. It didn't walk. It glided like a shadow with teeth. The alien prisoners screamed and pushed deeper into the tunnels. Elias stood frozen. The creature was unlike anything he had imagined. Huge, shapeless, shifting, almost alive and dead at the same time. The alien child hid behind him, trembling. The Guardian forced itself upright. "Human, take the child and run." "No," Elias shouted. "You'll be destroyed." The Guardian gave a faint, broken laugh. "I was destroyed long ago." It turned toward the Devourer and raised its remaining arm. Blue energy glowed weakly from its core. The Devourer roared and lunged. The Guardian met it head-on. The explosion shook the entire ship. Flames burst across the chamber. The shock wave threw Elias into a wall. He grabbed the child and shielded it from falling debris. The floor cracked. The ceiling fell. And Elias knew the Guardian had sacrificed everything. He struggled to his feet. His vision blurred. His chest burned. But the child tugged on him again, pointing toward an escape hatch on the left. "We must go," the child whispered in a thin, trembling voice. Elias nodded. "Yes, let's get out." He limped across the chamber, climbing over broken metal, dragging himself forward. Flames crawled along the walls. The ship groaned louder, as if crying out in its final moments. Elias reached the hatch and kicked it open. Inside, dozens of aliens huddled in fear inside the evacuation pod. They looked at Elias with shock and confusion. A human? Alive? Helping? One alien pressed a glowing hand against the control panel. The pod door opened wider. "Come," it said. "You saved us. We will not leave you." Elias stepped inside with the child. The pod sealed shut. Through a small window, he watched the burning ship shake violently. Explosions traveled across its long structure like orange veins of destruction. "Prepare for launch," an alien voice said. A loud metallic click echoed. The pod detached. It shot away from the dying ship. As they drifted into space, the prisoners stared out the window. They watched the massive alien vessel collapse in a silent flash of light. The explosion was huge, bright enough to light the dark region like a newborn star. And then everything went quiet. A soft voice broke the silence. The alien child held Elias's hand and whispered, "You saved us, all of us." Elias leaned back, exhausted. "I just did what anyone should do." But the aliens did not agree. One of them, an elder with glowing blue skin, activated a communicator and announced across all frequencies. "This is an emergency broadcast. A human saved us. A human gave his life for strangers. The galaxy must know the truth. Dozens of alien ships heard it. Hundreds of stations across the spiral arms recorded it. Millions of beings listened in shock. A single message spread faster than light. A human showed kindness, and the galaxy will never forget. The escape pod floated silently through the dark region of space, carrying Elias, the alien child, and the rescued prisoners. No one spoke. No one moved. Everyone stared at the burning remains of the ancient ship that had exploded behind them. Elias leaned back, breathing heavily. His body ached. His vision blurred. His ears still rang from the explosion. The alien child sat beside him, holding his hand tightly, refusing to let go. The others whispered among themselves, "A human saved us. No one will believe it. We must tell the galaxy." But suddenly, a warning light flashed red inside the pod. Life signal critical. Human, unstable. "What?" Elias whispered. His chest tightened. His breathing grew weaker. The explosion had hit him harder than he thought. His suit was torn. His skin was burned. The shockwave had cracked his ribs. The alien child shook him. "Elias. Elias, stay awake." "I'm okay," he whispered, but the words felt heavy. An alien healer with crystal-like skin rushed to him and checked his pulse. Its glowing hands scanned his body. "He is dying," the healer said softly. The blast injured his heart. The child shook its head violently. "No, he can't die. He saved us." The pod suddenly jolted as thrusters kicked in. The computer voice announced, "Approaching nearest safe star system. Preparing for medical rescue." The pod shot forward. Aliens gathered around Elias, trying to comfort him. One placed a warm hand on his shoulder. Another whispered a soft prayer in its own language. For the first time in their lives, they looked at a human with respect, with gratitude. Minutes felt like hours. The alien child curled beside Elias, pressing its forehead to his arm, whispering in its own trembling voice, "Please, don't go." Elias placed a weak hand on the child's head. "You'll be safe now." His hand slipped. His eyes closed. Then the pod shook violently. Bright lights flashed outside the windows. Dozens of ships appeared around them, forming a protective circle. Some were large battleships. Some were small rescue craft. Some carried banners of different alien nations. They had all heard the message. A human saved us. And they had come. One of the ships, a medical cruiser, locked onto the escape pod and pulled it into its docking bay. Aliens rushed inside, carrying medical equipment. When they reached Elias, the lead medic shouted, "He has no time. Move." The aliens lifted his body carefully and raced down the corridor into the surgical chamber. The alien child ran behind them, crying and screaming, "Save him! Please save him!" But the doors closed. The child was left outside, trembling. The rescued prisoners gathered around it, placing comforting hands on its shoulders. Some bowed their heads. Some murmured soft words. Some simply stood in silence. Minutes passed, then an hour, then another. The waiting room grew quiet. Finally, the door opened. The lead medic stepped out. The alien child ran to him. "Is he alive? Tell me." The medic looked down with tired, sorrowful eyes. "We tried everything, but—" The child froze. The medic continued. His heart stopped. His body shut down. Several aliens gasped in shock. The child collapsed to its knees, crying loudly. But then, the medic raised a hand. "Wait," he said. Everyone looked at him with confusion. "We placed him in a deep cryostasis chamber. There is a chance, only a tiny chance, that he may recover if we reach a human medical facility." The room filled with whispers. "A chance. Humans can heal him. What if he wakes again?" The child's tears slowed. Hope flickered in its eyes. "Can I see him?" it asked. The medic nodded. They entered the cryo room. Elias lay inside a transparent pod. A soft blue light covered him. His body looked peaceful, almost sleeping. The alien child placed a small hand on the glass. "Please come back. You promised I'd be safe, but I need you too." The other aliens bowed their heads silently. Suddenly, an alarm beeped. A distant voice through the intercom shouted, "Incoming ship. Human vessel approaching fast." The medics rushed to the viewing window. A sleek human rescue cruiser appeared, engines glowing bright. It flew toward them with surprising speed. Aliens stepped backward nervously. Humans were feared across the galaxy for their unpredictable nature, their strength, their past wars. But today was different. A human ship docked. A group of armored human soldiers entered, followed by human doctors. Their leader saw the cryopod and froze. "Is that one of ours?" he asked. The alien child stepped forward boldly, chest shaking. "He saved us all," it said. "Please save him." The soldiers looked at one another. For the first time, humans and aliens stood together without fear, without anger, without stories of hate. The lead human doctor approached the pod. "We will take him home," he said firmly. "He will get the best care humanity can give." The alien prisoners bowed, their heads in respect. As they prepared to move the pod, a message was broadcast across the galaxy from station to station. "The human who saved strangers from death is alive, but barely. Let the stars witness his courage." Millions felt something new. Hope. Elias's act of kindness had begun to rewrite the galaxy's beliefs, one star at a time. And the story was not over, because humanity was coming. And they wanted their hero back that worked nonstop, checking his vitals, repairing damaged tissue, and stabilizing his weak heartbeat. The alien child sat close by, refusing to leave his side. Outside the ship's windows, dozens of alien vessels followed silently. A mixed fleet of species that had once feared humans. Now, they moved together, united by the man who had changed everything. Elias Varen, the one human who showed kindness in a place full of darkness. The message of his bravery spread across star systems like wildfire. News stations replayed the broadcast from the rescued prisoners. Scholars debated it. Leaders argued over what it meant. Ordinary people listened with shock and hope. For the first time in generations, the galaxy saw humans not as destroyers, but as protectors. But Elias still lay between life and death. The rescue cruiser finally reached Earth's medical command station, a massive structure floating above blue oceans, shining like a jewel. When the ship docked, hundreds of humans gathered in silence, waiting for the hero they had never met. Soldiers saluted. Doctors prepared emergency rooms. Civilians stood with hands over their hearts. And when the pod opened, Elias was lifted out gently. His body was broken, his breath shallow, but he was alive. Barely. The alien child followed him, holding a small glowing flower it had made from its own biolight. Human soldiers, confused at first, stepped aside respectfully. Inside the medical chamber, teams worked without rest. Machines beeped. Lights flashed. Voices echoed. Hours passed. Then a day. Then two. The galaxy held its breath. The awakening. On the third day, something happened. A small sound, a gentle beep. Elias's heartbeat strengthened. Human doctors gathered around the pod. The alien child pressed its face to the glass, whispering, "Wake up, please wake up." Elias's fingers twitched. Then his eyes slowly opened. Bright lights blurred above him. The room swam into focus. He saw a human doctor looking down with a relieved smile. "Welcome back, Elias," the doctor said softly. "You made it." Elias blinked. His throat felt dry. "The child, prisoners, are they safe?" Before the doctor could answer, a small shape leaped forward. The alien child embraced him, crying with joy. "You lived," it whispered. "You lived." Elias felt tears fill his eyes. "You're okay, good?" The room filled with quiet applause. Even the human soldiers wiped tears from their eyes. The galaxy had feared humans for so long, but this moment showed a different truth. Humans could be kind. Humans could save. Humans could sacrifice. The meeting of worlds. 2 weeks later, a grand hall on the station was filled with leaders from dozens of alien worlds. It was the first time in galactic history that so many species stood side by side with humans, not as enemies, but as equals. At the center of the hall stood Elias, still weak, but walking slowly with the support of the alien child. Every eye was on him. A tall elder from the crystalline Varani stepped forward. "Elias Varen," she said, her voice echoing beautifully. For centuries, our people believed humans had no mercy. You proved us wrong. A deep-voiced warrior from the bronze-scaled Drathack clan bowed deeply. You fought the Devourer, he said. Few survive its presence. You saved children not of your kind. We honor you. One by one, aliens stepped forward, placing their hands on their chests, bowing or offering their people sign of respect. Elias's eyes softened with emotion. Then the alien child stepped in front of him. It held out a small badge, a fragment from the ancient ship he rescued it from. A symbol burned into the metal glowed softly. This belonged to the Guardian, the child said. It wanted you to have it. Elias closed his hand around the badge. I will never forget it, nor will the galaxy. The day of kindness. Months passed. Peace spread slowly across star systems. Old rivalries softened. Trade increased. Talks of interspecies cooperation began. Diplomatic stations were built. Humans were welcomed into places once closed to them. Every world added something new to their calendars. The day of kindness. A day when people lit candles or glowing stones. A day when ships dimmed their lights for 1 minute in silence. A day when children listened to the story of a human who saved strangers in the dark. Elias Varon, the man who risked everything for those he didn't know. The final echo. One evening, Elias stood on the balcony of the station, watching stars shimmer like dust across the void. The alien child, now officially adopted into his care, stood beside him. Elias, the child said softly, do you think the galaxy will stay peaceful forever? Elias smiled gently. Nothing lasts forever, but kindness? Kindness travels far. It grows. It echoes. And maybe one day, it will reach even the darkest places. The child held his hand. Because of you? Elias shook his head. Because of us. Because anyone can choose to help. Anyone can change a story. Suddenly, a soft beep echoed from the communications panel. A new signal. Weak. Broken. Familiar. Help someone, please. Elias and the child exchanged a knowing look. He turned toward the stars, eyes steady, heart strong. Well, Elias whispered, it looks like our work isn't done yet. And with that, humanity prepared to answer the next call. The galaxy watched, and history remembered. Forever.